Hello everyone, we continue our news marathon from the Star Wars Celebration 2023, and today we talk in more detail about the new film which will focus on the era of the Old Republic from director of Logan, James Mangold. Lucasfilms and Disney finally heard the fans and decided to take a closer look at the Old Republic, and now two projects are being developed on at once. A film from Mangold and a remake of KOTOR. Speaking of the release date, most likely not earlier than 2027. But with that regard to the plot, do not rush to rejoice. No, of course, we should all rejoice, but the film about the Old Republic is not exactly about what you could have imagined. I've seen a dozen comments from people waiting for Revan, Malak, Nihilus and other famous Sith. No, they won't be present. The era is completely different. The events of the film will unfold 25,000 years before the Battle of Yavin and tell us the story of the very first Jedi. Even the era itself is called the Dawn of the Jedi. There was no Revan even in the plans then, but there was an endless empire of Rakata. For those who do not know anything about them, I will now read a short article from the Wikipedia. The Rakata are a race of intelligent amphibians who live on the Lehon system. The Rakata's physique was similar to that of a human, but had some amphibian characteristics. They were the first highly developed race in the history of the galaxy. Under the prolonged influence of the dark side of the Force, their society was corrupted and turned into ruthless warriors seeking chaos. The Rakata used Force-based technology to take over power-saturated worlds and enslave other races across the galaxy. During the reign of the endless empire that they created, they were characterized as a cruel and arrogant race. It was known that they sucked resources from the planets, killed a huge number of slaves, ate and desecrated the bodies of slain enemies. In the end, the Rakatans turned against each other, were exposed to the plague that deprived them of the Force connection, and having lost the Empire, returned to their home planet Lehon, where they slowly died out over the millennia. Rakata first appeared in the game Knights of the Old Republic. In general, this race has done a lot of things in the galaxy. For example, they burned and plundered the fertile, rich in seas and rivers planets of Tatooine, and after their visit, the planet remained as a dead desert forever. As for the Jedi Order, at that time it was called by almost in the same manner, although there is a slight difference in the spelling. The word Jedi was written through the article Jedi. However, they were different, not only in the name, but by the principle of the order as well. The Jedi was not exclusively adherent to the light side. They found a balance using the dark side of the Force too, and this is how the balance of the Force turned out to be created. Those who were not too immersed in the darkness or light were sent to one of the Tythonian moons to catch this very balance. In fact, modern Jedi are too much in the light. They inhabited one of the most ancient planets called Typhon, where they erected many temples. They were brought to this planet by ancient ships in the form of pyramids, which had been dormant for a long time in the bow of various planets, and when they awoke, they signaled to all Force-sensitive beings, and when they responded back to the call, the pyramids brought them to Tython to comprehend the path of the Force. And by the way, Tython is the starting location for the Jedi in the game The Old Republic, the events of which unfold 3,000 years before the Battle of Yavin. A little later, Tython was destroyed and looted by the Sith, and was visited by the creator of the Rule of Two, Darth Bane, who arrived on the planet in search of the ancient Galakrond. The last time the planet was teased in the second season of The Mandalorian, where Jaren and Boba Fett met. But let's return to the film about the Old Republic. If Lucasfilm and Disney do not reckon anything, then the events of the new film should tell us about the first Jedi on Tython and about the endless empire of Rakata. Then, there were no lightsabers, powerful blasters or hyper-engine. It will all be invented much later, along with the lightsabers, which were vibro swords and blades made of durasteel that were crafted by the Jedi in the Forge of Tython at that period. The first prototype of the lightsaber was created by the Rakatan, and it was called the Power Sword. This weapon worked on a different principle. The bearer must endow the sword with the energy of the dark side, only after that it was lit. When faced with such weapons for the first time, the Jedi realized that durasteel blades were useless against it, and therefore later invented a lightsaber that turned on with a button without the dark side. Probably we should be shown exactly how the lightsaber was created. It would be interesting. This is such an ancient and interesting era as it turns out. But you know, as for me, Lucasfilm decided to hit such wilds in vain. Of course, this is very interesting for us as fans, especially for fans of the Dawn of the Jedi, but for the main audience, this era will seem too archaic. A kind of Witcher with small elements of the usual Star Wars. Maybe it was worth taking a much later era, such as the Mandalorian Wars, and then showing how Revan and Malak fell to the dark side and declared war on the Jedi Order. This is much more interesting. Besides, this topic will perfectly complement the Mandalorian series, showing the origins of the warlike people. In this era, there were already lightsabers, high-speed spaceships, Sith and Jedi, and at the same time there were still some aspects of the ancient era, and the same vibroblades, temples and robes. And the fans of the Old Republic would really like it, and the mass audience would be interested, and the Dawn of the Jedi is still a very narrow and sometimes even a specific topic. Anyway, we have to wait for at least 4 more years, but let's hope that Lucasfilm will not distort and retcon the story, if they have taken up such an important era. That's it for today. Write in the comments, do you like the Dawn of the Jedi, and do you agree with me that it was worth showing a later era with Malak and Revan? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you all so much for watching. See you tomorrow.